Okay, today I want to talk about the Federal Reserve, interest rates, why they might change, and how that affects our economy. As when discussing the economy, I see a lot of people bring up the rising interest rates. While that's not something the president can really control, and it doesn't necessarily affect our economy in the way you might think, as the point of the Fed was to be separate from the government and politics, and generally interest rates rise to battle inflation and get lowered when the economy is slow. You have to think about it as spending power versus lending power. High interest rates affects your lending power, while high inflation takes from your spending power. And just years removed from a Trump-led recession where it's hard enough to get groceries, spending power is what is most important. And yes, the recession was spearheaded by Donald Trump. We entered the recession on February 20th, 1 month after Biden was sworn in and before any legislation or economic factors were changed by Biden. And blaming it on him largely reminds me of when Obama was sworn in and how people started blaming him for the recession on day one, despite it clearly not being his fault and there being no way that would even be possible. However, Biden is a huge reason it was the shortest recession in U.S. history, passing the American Rescue Plan in March, cutting child poverty in half instantly, putting money directly in families' hands, among other things, and we came out of the recession just 1 month later. But obviously, with any recession or global economic event, there will still be effects that linger after, one of those in this case being inflation. Now, inflation is a global problem, that is important to note, one that Biden himself can only affect so much, but what is important to look at is that he has managed to keep us having the lowest inflation of any wealthy country. So he is clearly managing it the best that you can on a global scale, whereas when this happened under Trump, we had the greatest GDP decline of any wealthy country. We were 3 times worse than the second place country, which I think was China, if I'm being correct. But with inflation still being an issue, the Fed decided to spike up its interest rates, which are now reaching over 5%, which Republicans and anti-Biden people are quick to write off as, this is an economic loss for Biden. This proves the economy is bad. Despite when looking into it, you can see that that's clearly not the case. We've managed the lowest global inflation of wealthy countries, as I've mentioned. And while interest rates generally negatively affect the stock market, we've had record Wall Street gains under Biden. And we've had record holiday spending, and overall consumer spending is up, as well as consumer confidence. So while yes, interest rates are up, and that's not what you want, it's not preferred, it is more of an indicator of global inflation rather than a problem in our own economy. And in terms of that global inflation, we're already dealing with it better than anybody else. So pointing to high interest rates and saying that's an indicator of a bad economy is really just dishonest and kind of missing the mark. If you enjoyed this video, we're Social Society. We're a commentary channel influenced by politics, society, and the economy. We are pretty left-leaning on this channel, but we're open to our right-wingers as well. The biggest thing here is having conversations that get everyone to the bottom of the truth. If that sounds like something that could interest you, smash that subscribe button. Leave us a like, or even comment on this video, because the only way we become a society is together.